brother. What's up?
This is a
Hey,
groovy party, man.
Yeah,
I
brother.
can
Like,
dig it.
solid. Right on.
Hey man, what's your name?
Sweet Kicks. Hey, what's up? My man.
Everything is everything.
Get down today, boy, I tell you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Hope everybody's doing well. This is Corey Collins,
And this is Byron Sellers.
and we are your hosts for Present Talk Radio.
Hello, good morning. I hope you guys are having a wonderful morning.
Yes. So we are back here for episode number 2. We first just wanted to acknowledge episode number 1. We appreciate everyone who took the time to view our first episode,
Yes,
showed the love, gave us some support.
definitely.
You know, this is a brand new journey for both of us, and that support that we have from you guys is totally appreciated. So thank you, first of all.
Oh man, it's only been a day and it's been booming, man.
Yeah,
So, we appreciate it.
we're getting some good response.
But definitely, real quick, want to shout out a sponsor of ours, Black Men Present. And definitely being affiliates of that. We appreciate that.
Absolutely. And with Black Man Present, there's a upcoming event coming up June 16th, 2017. We have a 5K event occurring in the Garfield Park area. This is going to be one of the very first 5K events in the entire area.
Yes, epic.
So we've got a lot on the way, but that is to be announced. We've got more details to come. First, we just wanted to kick this conversation off with you guys with a quick story. Over the weekend, last Saturday, myself and Byron are actually out in the streets of Chicago. Part of being coaches is actually just connecting with people,
Yes.
having these conversations about possibility, figuring out like what are these people really committed to in their lives. So if you saw us at all, we're on the Magnificent Mile holding up a giant white poster board with a phrase, "What is possible for you?" on it. And that was quite the experience, man. We got a lot of head turns, a lot of people like shouting things out. For example, we had one woman who was walking past, and right after the election, obviously the emotions are high, but she was like, "I'm going to be the first female president." And I was like, yes, you will.
Right.
So shout out to Hillary Clinton on that for inspiring more women. But we had other people walking by just really giving their input. There's one gentleman who was wearing a leg boot, and he's like, one day I'll walk.
Yes, you are. Somehow, some way.
Somehow, some way. But one of the things that was actually an overwhelming theme of that question, what is possible for you, was the response of everything or anything.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say majority of the people who saw that sign, it was almost like an automatic response for them to say, anything is possible.
Yes.
Everything is possible. Kind of like that Kevin Garnett when he
Right.
won.
Everything is possible.
Everything is possible. Yes. Everybody was so like quick to say that response, and it was great to hear that. But then leaving out, I just really got curious.
Mm-hmm.
For that many people to say anything is possible or everything is possible, is it really?
You know what, Corey? It's a very interesting question. And to start that off, I will say this. Anything is possible. Nowadays, like I said, with this election, a lot of people are saying anything is possible if Donald Trump became president.
That's true.
A lot of people feel that way.
Yeah.
And myself, other than physically, I hate to say to give the example, but I don't see a 4'5", man dunking anytime soon. Hopefully he can do all the box jumps in the world. But unless you're physically limited, I think when it comes to reaching goals, anything is possible.
Okay. Well, and that's a good way of seeing it, and I appreciate you letting me know. But outside of physical abilities or like career goals, are people really living into their full possibility, or is this something that we are just throwing out there as if it is possible, but not actually living into that possibility?
And I get that, because I feel like a lot of people will say that, but if you possibly were able to stop those people, then ask them, well, are you doing everything possible in your life to live you to your full potential?
Right.
Yeah, then you'll get a different answer.
Right, you're gonna know, or no, I'm afraid to, or this came up, or that came up, and the laundry list of things of why it is not possible to live in possibility will be the first thing that we hear.
Oh man!
So it's interesting there. You know, there's a gap between the stated phrase "anything is possible" versus what is actually possible for people now.
Very true.
And we can look at the reasons why, but that's not really my focus at that. You know, ultimately, and actually, let me take a step back. If we do look at the reasons why, if we do look at the fears, or if we do look at the work, or if we do look at why people stop, there's some pretty interesting things that you start to realize.
Yes, no, definitely. And, you know, what you said, to give an example of when we first walked out there, when I first walked out there and saw you with that sign, honestly, like, I mean, it was, I had to step outside my comfort zone, because it was like, okay, this kid is out here with this sign. People, you know, think remember you're younger, you go downtown and you see people on the corners, possibly either they might be preaching, or even think about a homeless person holding up a sign, or somebody similar might be having the average person you walk past. A lot of people prejudge, or they see they're a crazy person, or what does this person want? And you used to see even some of the looks that people were looking at the sign, like, wait, what does that sign say? And you stepped outside your comfort zone. I had to step out my comfort zone. We made that possible. A lot of people were like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. You know, so man, that was an extraordinary feat, man. I'll tell you that.
I appreciate that, man. The intention for me when I first even thought about doing that was, let me just have a 20-minute conversation to get more clients. Like, that was the initial intent. I'm really trying to put myself out there more as a coach, and I can sit behind Facebook and post as much as I want, or try to tell people to show to a workshop. But that was my goal the other day, was just be like, all right, who's buying coaching? Found out really quickly that when you put a sign that says $20 for 20 minutes of coaching, no one's really buying coaching. Right. But that's okay, because after I kind of like reflected on that, really I started to realize that it's not even about the coaching. It's about the conversation. Can I stop people for 20 minutes and just have a conversation and get curious on, like, what is possible in their life? What are you up to?
Yes.
What are you actually committed to in your personal life to get somewhere? And what's holding that back? And I've had, when I changed the sign, I actually had people stop.
Yes. People
were looking at that sign like, well, what is possible for me? Some people were like really optimistic, some people pessimistic, some people realist. Like, it was a mixed bag of results. But what was amazing was, just by me being there and asking that question, people, you can see it on their faces, were asking themselves that, like, what is really happening? So my main point really is, if we are not living in possibility, why are so many of us failing to unlock that? What's your spin on that?
And that's my biggest, like I said, that's a great question. And what I take for is the people grow up, is almost when you're a child, you're fearless. You're fearless until people tell you that, hey, don't do this, don't do that. And a lot of times as a child, you learn. You might touch fire. Hey, I know that's hot. But throughout your life, you're told you're limited, because you're told not to do this, not to do that. Oh, it takes this to do that. So that fear, the older you get, you become more and more and more and more fearful. And that happens to it. I mean, look, that happened to me growing up. I mean, and eventually down on some later episodes, telling my history and things. But That definitely enables people, because a lot of people, when they face a pitfall, it's hard for people to really look at that experience, learn from it, and do it better. Most people immediately shut down.
Mm-hmm.
So they at that possibility is no longer like there for them. It's that oh man, like I did that before. You hear those stories. Well, I tried that before, but it didn't work out for me. Right. So it may not work out for you either, because it didn't work out for me.
Right.
And a lot of people kind of throw that out there. But I mean, honestly, one thing I can really add is just that fear of failure. Mm-hmm. People don't really want to move on, from it, and their possibilities become very limited. And the more their possibilities become limited, the more they limit themselves. And now they're staying within that smaller box.
Nice. I love that perspective that you added, because that truly is a big part of that, is the fear of failing. Yes. But now let's look at it from a flip side. What about the fear of succeeding?
Yes.
I've had conversations before about this, and sometimes it takes that initial push to get you outside of the comfort zone. It's like, okay, maybe I haven't failed. Maybe this is still possible. But what if we looked at the actual fear of succeeding? Like, some people may get a little glimpse of it, but what actually makes us stop? Mm-hmm. Or gets us stuck into a place where it's like, I got a little bit of it. I got to taste it some, but now I find myself in this world where it's like, I'm there, but I'm not. Mm-hmm. What's possible in that space?
In the fear of success. And somebody posed that question to me before, and it was interesting. Like, the fear of success, and it was just almost like, how do you fear being successful? But I feel like it's almost scary to that person of the power that they're unlocking, because with success comes a lot of, and I'm gonna bring it back to the African American community, but it comes responsibility. The more successful you are, the more responsibility that you seem to bring on. Mm-hmm. I mean, we think we can go to a Biggie lyric, "More money, more problems," and that's and I hate to say it, that's for our culture, because now, okay, Corey, you're successful. Some people start to see that. Mm-hmm. Now it's okay. Hey, man, I want to ride your coattail. Now, how did you do it? Yeah. Then you have the instant people. Then you have the people that, hey, you're successful now, so hands out.
Right.
How can you take care of me?
Right. And there's even an attachment of like the materialistic things of success. So now that I have become successful, I should have money.
Yes.
I should have the nice car, the nice house, the nice TV. Mm-hmm. I should be able to travel and go see the world. Mm-hmm. And the success itself begins to become this, like a bubble of what it means to be successful. Yes. When in reality, the thing that was stopping before that, fear, what got you out of that was just the love and the passion that you had to do it in the first place. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting, right? Like, you can get so far with your success, but when the success starts to become defined by the outcome, like what really shows up then, and that's the part I'm looking at. Is if we go back to our conversation about anything is possible, okay, how long will things be possible? Will things be possible for a short amount of time when it seems right, or when we're up to great things? Or will things be possible forever?
And it should be possible forever. Some people set those goals where material things, it becomes their success. Say somebody, hey man, I want to make $5 to $10 million, and they reach that peak. It's like, do I stop now? Mm-hmm. But I feel a true successful person, you strive to be better. So it's you fall in love with the process,
right,
of how you get those things, not don't get me wrong. You set those measurable goals to kind of see where you are in life, But if you look at it as, okay, this is my peak, it's like, I think that's why some people almost, some wealthy people or successful people, they're miserable because they reach that peak and it's almost like, what now?
Right. There was no real purpose there. Mm-hmm. The whole purpose was to have the end result.
Yes.
And then once the end result was there, they're like, well, what now?
Yes.
And that brings me to a interesting point now on the term purpose. Now, a lot of our platform, if we first look at present talk, that first term is purposeful living.
Yes.
When we truly define purpose, and this is for just those chiming in, first of all, ask yourself, what does it mean to actually have purpose?
And that's a great question.
Is it just a word that we're throwing out? Is it an intention? Like, what does it truly mean to have purpose? Now, one of my mentors, his name is Linnell Harris. He has workshops around Chicago frequently. He is a life coach himself, a very good life coach. And he defines purpose as, once you are able to identify it, purpose defines who you are and what we should be offering to the world. Your purpose will become your identity. Your purpose is who you be, not the role. And this is where many of us actually get confused or slipped up. When we start to confuse who we are with what we do,
Yes.
with what we have. Like, if I am a CEO living in downtown Chicago in a corporate suite, I am deemed to have purpose, right? But really all that is a role, a title, and a luxury.
Right.
So let's take that aside.
Mm-hmm.
Purpose. Purpose is more who you are
Right.
as a person. You know, he says, we tend to look at it as we are a body with a soul, but a person with the purpose has a soul with the body, right?
Mm-hmm.
Different way of seeing it. And if you take out the job title, you take out the role, you're actually giving yourself access to truly having your power.
True.
By living with purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And if that becomes the definition of your success, to live a purpose-driven life, to live a powerful life or an empowered life, there's no end.
Right. Endless. It's definitely it's endless, and it's so great that you say that, man. Because being at the workshop this weekend, I used to tell people, "Hey, my life purpose, I'm here to provide positivity. Just be a positive person. Just to give people that positive light." And it was questioned, whereas, okay, that's good and all, but is that for self? Is that, for my self accolades to say, oh, I feel better because I made that person positive?
Yeah.
Like, how is that really your purpose?
Right. Or is that just the end result of the person you already are?
Right.
Yeah.
And it made me think about it like, damn. Like, I had to scale back for a while. Like,
it makes you twist your mind around.
Right,
I
want
bit.
everybody to be happy,
Yeah.
But and then we start tweaking a few things, and
Right.
it's like and it came out that my purpose is for the possibility, for people to know the possibility that they have, not just for for them to be positive, because not everybody's gonna be positive.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody's gonna be positive. I mean, they're gonna have positive moments,
Yeah.
but you're talking about 24 hours, 365. They might not be positive.
Right.
But to ensure them that you have the power, like you said, with that power and that possibility, now almost goes back to the anything is possible. But
Yeah.
To you
Yeah.
though, can you really look at it's anything possible?
Right. And not all the time positive is going to equal good or success. Sometimes, and most of the time, that struggle,
Right.
that discomfort, that negative attitude, that anger that's inside of you, that's what's driving you forward,
Right.
because you feel that. You can't always feel being happy,
Right.
right? If I just slapped a happy face on me with everything going on, Donald Trump is my president. You know what I mean? Like, the world is going in different ways, but like if we just slap a happy face on it and say we have succeeded or that we have purpose, we're doing ourselves no justice,
Yes.
because there's no power there. The real power comes in knowing you. And that's where I want to draw all of this in. If we look at the possibility of being unlimited or achieving your truest potential, the two things that make those fundamentally true are, first, purpose. Who are you? Not what you do, not what your role is, not what your title is, not all the money you have, but who are you?
Really, yes.
And also your power. What are you after? What is it that will bring you that joy? Because if you can combine those two, and really give yourself some momentum moving forward into that, and continue to build that on every single day, and have the consistency and the work ethic and all those things that make you great in the first place. If you first start with purpose and power, that unlocks possibility.
Oh man, and to go along with that, like you said, I think the average person don't really realize that the power that they have. And a lot of times when people think of power, when you think of the word power, you almost look at it as like a godlike, or some mythical, like, oh, how do I have power? But power, you have several definitions. Think about it. You have people in places of power. You have individuals that can move an entire crowd. That's, to me, that's power. If everybody goes home like, man, if you look at artists, a musician or a politician, when you have the ability to move people, to sway people, to have those, not to say opinions, but to have the, they molding their thoughts, that's some power.
Oh, definitely.
But to me, it's not just that. You have power over yourself. A lot of people lose that power over themselves.
And why do you think that?
One reason is almost the acceptance of everyone else around them. So it's like I'm more worried about not just my image, but I'm more, people are more worried about how everybody else in the world perceives them. So they're almost living for everyone else instead of living for themselves. I feel like that's one way people kind of lose sight of so they'll allow other people to have power over them by telling them that you can't do this. Yeah. No, I don't think you're good enough for this. Right. And those negative thoughts, they allow that to, like I said, to control their thoughts instead of just feeding off of it and
that goes back to your point too. As babies, we aren't born into the world thinking that, but from that perspective, as we get older, that's when you see it becoming more and more difficult for people to really be possible or experience growth in their life, because they have now stopped by others. It's no longer about you. Right. It's no longer about your dreams or what you want or how you see it for yourself.
No, very true. And you can think about it. I've been in situations, think about growing up, you think of MTV Cribs. You're looking at NBA players, and you're seeing all the dreams that they set for themselves and their goals, and now that becomes your goals. Oh, I want a big house like that. Oh, I want that truck. I want that car. I want to take this vacation like they're doing. Don't get me wrong, it's nothing like it, but it's like, do you really want that? Mm-hmm. Or is it because you see what they're doing?
Saw
it's
other
like
people doing
right. So a lot of times people, we all have dreams, but to really turn your dream into a reality, again, goes to the possibility. Mm-hmm. It goes to that power. Mm-hmm. And I know, eventually, you'll touch on, but consistency is huge, man.
Oh, definitely.
Consistency is huge.
That's a whole nother podcast of just like the work required to do this. We're only giving you the fundamental steps here, everybody. Yes. And that's where we're actually going to leave that. As we wrap this up, I really would like to challenge everybody listening today. First off, get very clear on who you are. If you ask yourself where you see yourself going or how this is going to happen, stop. First, ask yourself who you are. Doesn't have to be a deep question or something you have to overthink or, go to sleep upset about yourself at. But if you can have a clear definition of who you are as a person, the first step. And the second step after that is really ask yourself where you see yourself going. What is possible in my life now that I know myself? And if those two steps can be something you practice and rehearse and get some clarity on, that will catapult you in the direction of where you're headed.
And, to piggyback off that, one thing, you can't do it by yourself. Because it's always someone who has had the same questions, the doubts that you have had. Mm-hmm. But there are plenty of mentors out there. There are plenty of coaches out there. There are plenty of consultants out there. There are plenty of people that will be willing to help you get to those goals. This is about, but time is huge. So you have to be really, ready to put in the work, ready to transform. And when you say transform, it's a change of a lifestyle because nothing is instant.
Right.
I mean, if it was that easy, everybody, like they say, everybody would do it.
But it really not. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, what is possible for you? What is possible for you? I'm your host, Corey Collins.
This is Byron Sellers.
This is Present Talk Radio. See you soon.